All right, I am here with members of Mr. Dude. Thanks for joining us today, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, why don't you introduce yourselves and let us know what you play in the band, and introduce the rest of the band that weren't able to make it here today.
All right. Well, I'll introduce Richie because he can't be here. He plays most of the guitar and drums, writes a lot of the songs. My name is James. I sing, play most of the bass, am the producer, and play a little bit of guitar.
My name's Chris. I mostly play this Moog right here, and a little bit of guitar, and that's about it. I'm just kind of the frosting guy.
All right, so James, you and I think it was Rich are also members of the band Police Tooth, who the listener should be familiar with, and Chris, obviously you are also a member of If I Had a Hi-Fi, who the listener should definitely be familiar with. How did and you guys also have shared a label at Latest Flame. So why don't you give us a little history on the band and how you decided to put this band, Mr. Dude, together?
Well, towards the end of the tenure of Police Teeth, we're never technically broke up, but we stopped playing around 2015, and we may or may not play again. Who knows? But when we did our last record, I bought this cheap Japanese octave pedal that we used on a couple songs on the last Police Teeth record. And Richie, who is the drummer in Police Teeth, also plays drums and guitars in Mr. Dude, became really enamored with the sound of this cheap Japanese octave pedal that I bought. And so between the two of us, we started just like buying this pedal every time we saw it on eBay for cheap. So I think between the two of us, we have 6 or 7 of this cheap Japanese plastic octave pedal. And that kind of became the basis of the Mr. Dude sound, because like Richie was really enamored with the sound of this pedal, because it just basically sounds like a car alarm or like a broken video game. And
or
so
a dying robot, or
yeah, so he just started
James, you're glitching.
kind of like weird single note lines that would like translate well to this kind of like limited sound that the pedal makes. So Police Teeth ended right around 2015, I think was when our last show was. And Richie and I still wanted to play together. So we was like, well, I have this idea for this band called Mr. Dude, and I'm just going to play this octave pedal, and it's going to be really obnoxious. And it's going to be like, try to like make fun party music, but make it as difficult as possible to listen to. I think the idea when we first started putting the band together was like the B-52s meets Godflesh.
Okay.
And so Richie and I, we did a record 2 years ago called Party Tape. And I also did some like really primitive synth playing on that. And I'm not very good at synth at all. But like the songs that had like synths and electronic elements were the songs that we liked the most. So when we did this record, we were like, well, let's get Chris on board, because like we thought that he would totally get like the aesthetic of what we're trying to go for with this band and this record in particular. So we're just like, yeah, let's get some tracks together and send them to Chris and see what he came up with. And he totally knocked out of the park. I think like his contributions kind of like make the record what it is. Chris.
Well, I mean, also like I mean, Hi-Fi and Police Teeth had played together like a ton, you know. I mean, we played a ton of shows together. And I remember like a specific like time. I want to say like Hi-Fi, Police Teeth, and Wax Eater were all touring together on like one of those latest Flame like package deals, and like the Madison show for some reason got canceled, and like we were all in Milwaukee, staying at kind of the same house, or we all kind of lived on the east side, like where the Hi-Fi practiced forever. And we all kind of just like started jamming together, and like Richie and I jammed like pretty much the whole day. And then we all went and watched Call Me Lightning because like they were playing at what's the festival that goes on North Street? They were all playing at that was that day that Call Me Lightning played, that North Street Festival. We all went and watched them play. And so like I think that like the idea that we could all kind of just like jam together kind of came from that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing where we all know each other pretty well. So it was just kind of like when Richie and I were talking about like, let's have someone play synths like for real on this record. We were like, yeah, Chris is the guy.
Yeah,
just because we know each other so well.
Right, and it definitely sounds like, you know, what you guys put out, it definitely has that, you know, you guys gel and kind of have exactly the same direction going in mind. Did
good, because like I was really worried about that because they just kind of sent me all the stuff. I'm like, make sounds. And I'm like, okay, I hope this works. It works to me. Like, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We wouldn't have picked you if we didn't think that it was that, you know, you didn't have a handle on what we wanted to do. And yeah, I think the record turned out really well. So we were right. We were vindicated in that decision.
No, absolutely. It does sound, you know, it sounds like you guys are working together really closely, you know, like everything's moving in the same direction and you guys are on the same page. So, you know, it's interesting to hear that Chris, you didn't get any direction, or just kind of were given carte blanche, I guess, to, you know, layer on your own stuff. Were there any notes sent back and forth after you guys had put it together, or is it just...
No, I mean, it came together pretty quickly. Like pretty much like everything like Chris sent me like made the record. Like there's some stuff that I like mangled with VSTs in the mix, or like pitch shifted up or down, or like added crazy delays or reverbs or like bit crushing too. But like, I don't know, we knew that Chris would get what we were going for. He had heard the previous Mr. Dude record. And yeah, it was just like, let's put this thing together. And I was expecting to have some notes or like, yeah, this thing is, I don't know, but it didn't end up being like that at all. It's just like, you know, we were all pretty much on the same page making this record, which is wild because we were like living in 3 different cities right now. Okay,
yeah, and I guess that before you brought Chris on board, were you playing out as Mr. Dude, or has this just kind of been a project, a creative project?
Yeah, it's been mostly a studio project. If there's ever live music again, and there's the I think Richie and I decided a while ago that if there's ever another PRF barbecue in Louisville, that's when we're gonna play, specifically in Louisville. Like we're only ever gonna play in Louisville.
I'm fine with that. I love playing the PRF Louisville, so you know, I'm down.
So, you know, the direction of the album was, you know, I guess the catalyst for this was to create really noisy party, you know, kind of difficult party music.
Yeah, I mean, actually, like the first record was definitely like more in that vein, the party music vein. Like this record, it's actually, you know, quite a bit darker, and it still has a little bit of that party vibe there, but it's just kind of darker. I mean, surprise, even before quarantine and COVID, like the world has been kind of like headed in that direction, and we haven't felt that much like partying.
Right. Kind of a reflection of the current environment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, it definitely sounds like that kind of perfect line between, the police teeth sound, from a couple of years ago and the If I Had a Hi-Fi sound, perfectly
Okay, cool.
together.
Yeah, I mean,
Where, If I Had a Hi-Fi has always kind of had a little bit of that dancey, up kind of upbeat
yeah, no, for sure.
feeling to it.
Yeah. I think like I don't know, when we started doing Mr. Dude, we had this like idea that like we were influenced by bands like maybe like Beehive and the Barracudas, or maybe like even the Cramps, where they like kind of like came up with like this whole like mythology and like alter egos and like this like extended alternate universe for the band. Like the first record had a zine that came with it that was just like basically like fake band interviews and like fake flyers from like fake shows that we played. And like this record, we kind of like don't have any of that. And so like in my mind, it's still like this fictional band in this like fictional alternate universe, but really it's the two idiots from Police Teeth and the guy from If I Had a Hi-Fi on this record. So a lot of that's going to come through, no matter how much we try to reinvent or fictionalize ourselves.
No, absolutely, and it's definitely a fun listen all the way through, I think.
Oh, good. I'm glad that it's not. Richie and I were both kind of worried about this record being kind of dour, just because like the subject matter is pretty dark. But then again, we didn't print lyrics, so it's up to interpretation to some degree.
Yeah, and the music, well, yeah, and I think the music itself kind of pushes that through, where it has it's rock and roll music, and it's definitely got that heavy synth in it, but it's a fun, it's a good listen. It's a fun listen.
Cool
to dig into. So I guess where you guys recorded this in Seattle, and then sent everything back over to Chris.
Yeah, we recorded basically the guitar and drum tracks like in my band's old practice space in downtown Seattle. And the joke is that like Mudhoney used to practice there. So on our first record, we had like recorded in Mudhoney's old practice space. But yeah, so we recorded the guitars and drums there. I think we did it in bits and pieces. We finished up around February of this year. And then COVID hit and quarantine hit, and I had just like basically no motivation to finish the record. And then to like play bass or like write lyrics or finish mixing it. And then eventually, little by little, like I got the bass tracks finished. It took me about a month to finish them. Like it could have gone a lot quicker, but I was just like, I don't know, not taking quarantine or COVID very well. Just it's been kind of rough on me. So
well,
like
and
once
you're in Seattle too, so like, I mean, you guys got it hard the first,
Yeah, we got it hard the first, and then there was also like the really heavy like protest and police presence here. So it's just like on top of the COVID, we've got like the whole like socio-political economic climate is just like is really rough here at that time. So it's just like not really feeling up to doing much of anything. But I finally got the bass tracks finished, and once that happened, I was just like, okay, this sounds pretty cool. I'll send it over to Chris and see what he can do with it. And then once I got the synth tracks back, I was just like, okay, this record is actually pretty cool. I feel like more inspired to finish that now. So then went and finished the lyrics, which probably ended up being quite a bit darker than I was expecting you to go initially. But I mean, I don't know. It's honest.
I mean, when I guess like I think I got like the first 3 or 4 tracks, and then I just started adding, crazy layers, and I just let James sort it out. Like I just like send him as much weird noises and stuff, and be like, he'll fix it in the mix. I don't, and particularly there weren't any like notes as to like, hey, I'm gonna sing here, so don't go all crazy busy at this part. I was just like, well, I would leave that open for an instrumental part, like, and I was like, James is a good singer, he'll deal with it, like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was specifically waited to like do the vocal arrangements until like after I had the synth tracks down, because I was like, okay, this like might influence what I'm doing with the melody or like rhythmically here. So I deliberately waited.
Did. I mean, like Radium Girls, you're like following the like descending, like for the chorus, you're following the descending part,
Yeah, it's definitely like there's some things where I didn't have any vocals in mind, like maybe a line here or there, but just like waited until like the music was as done as possible, and actually like mostly mixed until I started thinking about vocals, because like it definitely like influenced what I did, like melodically and rhythmically with the vocals.
So having this seems like a really different creative process than most, like when you're in a band and you're all in the same city, you're playing off one another and kind of working through things together. This is a really different process. It sounds like that affected like at least your vocals, if not maybe some other aspects.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm used to like Seminars, which is the band that I play in mostly now. We haven't been able to do anything.
Tom he's in a band with Tom from White Wrench Conservatory and Quinn Sharber. He used to play with Quinn, where we used to practice. So Tom, like on that fateful day where we all went and saw Call Me Lightning, Tom lived at that house.
Yeah, that's another Milwaukee connection, as I played a band with Tom. But it's just kind of like I got so used to playing, being able to write and have like 2 or 3 other people there to bounce my ideas off.
Mm-hmm.
And like, these last few months I'll like go and like pick up guitar and try to write something, and I'll come up with stuff. But because I don't have anybody to bounce ideas off of, I don't know if it's any good or not. And so, but the process with Mr. Dude is usually like Richie will come up with something, and he and I will like hash out a song structure. Him playing guitar, we'll record it to a click, and then we'll overdub him playing drums on top of that. And then usually I'll just kind of let loose with it after that. Just kind of like play bass, sing, do whatever weird stuff I need to do, chop it up, like maybe add some weird electronic elements like some drum loops or something, or some weird editing. And then, yeah, so it's definitely a different process. It's a lot more piecemeal, which is different than what I'm used to doing usually, but I don't know. It's good to step outside the comfort zone, and I don't know, it works.
So do you have any other, so you've released it, your new album Killed by Life is up on your Bandcamp page, which is mrdude.bandcamp.com. Obviously you're, playing out's not an option right now, and you weren't playing out before, or at least until PRF comes to Louisville again.
Yeah.
Do you have any other plans for it, like a physical release, or
Yeah, there's a tape release that got delayed. I don't want to go into it, but there was kind of a boner error on Richie and I's part, and
I didn't know. This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Yeah, so we had to resubmit the tape order again. So it should be at we should have it like any time now, but it was originally supposed to come out with a digital release at the end of September, and now it's looking more like early November. So there'll be a physical release for that. And I mean, honestly, we have no expectations for this band other than like we write songs and we make the records and then we put it out there, and whatever the general public wants to do with it, good, bad, or indifferent, that's kind of their business. Like,
yeah,
we're
we don't
not
really care.
Yeah, we're not actively like trying to like, push to, get on this festival or this
Right.
Spotify playlist or get on this blog. It's just kind of like whoever wants to interact with the music, they'll interact with it. It'll find its own audience no matter how small. And if people don't want to interact with it, then that's their loss.
Right. Well, and that's, I think that's, creativity for creativity's sake. And, that's always great. And, not having to serve another purpose, I think, is always ideal.
Yeah. I mean, I just like making records. Like, after quarantine's over, like, what's the next thing I'm probably going to do is like make another record. It could be another Mr. Dude record. It could be a Seminars record. It could be something completely different, but I'll probably just get to work on making another record.
Awesome. So the Mr. Dude album is titled Killed by Life. It's available at Mr. Dude's Bandcamp page, is mrdude.bandcamp.com. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Time. And yeah, like I said, the record sounds fantastic.
Thank
really
you.
Enjoy listening to it. We'll play a couple more tunes off of it here in a moment.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.